Do. Oh, look, I didn't even realize this whole time Soonie is wearing the Unveed Lives Matter shirt. Love it. Casey's got a, what is that? Is that a skateboard and an AR right there? I'm going to go.
Right on the rack.
That skateboard is
greater than
the
or
AR.
less than. Remember Pac-Man?
You took me off as I was showing my rack. Man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dang.
Go ahead.
I was trying to
Give
show
the
the
people
nice
what
shirt.
they want. Give the people what they want.
Soon he's like, it's for fashion. It's okay.
Exactly.
Go ahead, guys. Start sharing this episode out there. As you know, that it takes a little bit for people to know that we have gone live, and would take some helps, comments, likes, shares, etc. All that good stuff, so people know that we are live with Truth Will Set You Free. It looks like we've got a Soonie fan already in the house.
Let's go.
Oh,
Dude,
wow.
there's no notification. There it
They
is.
caught it. People are getting notifications. I'm going to go ahead and, of course, pin it at the top of the page shortly. We also have a special guest on the show. She's gonna be coming on. Let's talk, darling, and of course the lovely Mo. Mo, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey guys, do you see me? Okay, there I am. There I am. Hi guys.
Howdy.
All I saw was a black square, and I'm like, hell no, I better not just have a black square.
That's very mean to say about Soonie. I think that she's more than just the black square.
I think she's not a square. She's definitely fun to be around, okay?
Mo is my ally here. I don't think you guys understand.
I think the black square is BS.
I like Mo's look today. She's got the that like goldenrod hoodie, and then like the makeup.
Yeah.
It's she's got. I think we could take a lesson from her makeup.
She's way overestimating how
Are you
our
hating
show
on
is.
my friend? What are you doing here?
This is not on the regular though. Like Soonie knows, I'm like this all the time. I didn't just put on for you guys.
She woke up like that. What you talking about?
We got Easy in the house. We got Kevin. Kevin, how's the radio show going?
Yo, it is going fantastic. We are on week 2 right now. It's going great so far. We are working on getting it into podcast form. The radio station just kind of has to do a little something for that. The live streaming will be coming eventually, but until then, you can find the Liberty Revolt every morning, 7 to 9 a.m. Mountain on 1360 KHNC.com.
Where's my invite?
It's right here. When do you want to come on? You want to come on next week, Vinny?
That's the longest Kevin's gone without saying something offensive in one sentence. That's pretty impressive. Anyways, guys, share this episode out. What we're going to be talking about today is COVID shutting down the NFL, New York City, SNL, Chicago now apparently, NCAA, and we've got some VED members of government that have the vid. We're going to talk about implants. We didn't used to be able to talk about implants because it was a conspiracy theory. Guess what? It's not anymore. Peter McCullough, we're going to talk a little bit about that 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan. There is some negatives to it we want to make sure we cover. And I hope somebody on our platform has gotten into what's going on with OSHA, the Sixth Circuit Court, and all that. So we've got a whole chunk on COVID that all of us are going to talk about. Charlemagne the God with Kamala, and then the Kim Potter and Tony Timpa trials. Well, Tony Timpa might be reopened. Joe Manchin. And then Casey's got a little bit on North Korea. With that said, before we get the party started, are you guys ready to start the show?
No.
God, you guys are so excited. I can't. This is the exact level of energy I had right after hearing Joe Biden speak today. I was about the same.
Oh my God.
Let's get it started. Again, y'all, this is Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 79. We've got a whole segment on the vid, how it's shutting down all these major institutions, even though most people in them are VED. We're going to talk implants regarding, yes, your V passport. Peter McCullough, OSHA, positives, negatives, 6th Court of Judges, Kavanaugh, etc. We're going to talk about Charlemagne and Kamala. We're going to talk about the Kim Potter trial, Joe Manchin, and Casey's going to have a little funny thing that why we all don't live in North Korea. Anyways, guys, welcome to Truth Will Set You Free. My name is Anthony Russo from #BetheChange. Do me a favor. Please share this episode out there. Please. As you can see, Kevin's growing up because I'm the only one on screen, or he's still been drinking way too much. Anyways, guys, please share this out. As you know, we get shadow banned a bit. Earlier, I did a live and we had 160 people, so at least we're getting there again. But in order for you guys to see us and for people to see us, we need you to share it because Facebook is not going to help us out at all. As you know, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Please hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and say hello to all of our hosts and guest hosts. Since we've got a special guest on the show, yes, as Nikki said, please like and share. Do me a huge favor. Mo, let's talk, darling. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are. Tell where they can find you. All that good stuff.
All right. So as you guys can see on the bottom of the screen, Let's Talk Darling is my channel name, my Instagram name, my Facebook name. But you can call me Mo. Everybody calls me Mo. So when you hear the word Mo, they're referring to me. I'm the same on all platforms. You can also go to my website. It's letstalkdarling.com. You can find all my links there. I talk about pretty much everything on my channel. Started off on weight loss, went over to talking about, women's issues. Then somehow it turned into politics. So we talk about a little bit of everything over there, but yeah, I'm excited. So make sure to subscribe
you are not alone
to my channel.
In terms of people starting with something, especially in the health field, that have turned it into talking about COVID. I'm going to do me one favor. You sounded great the whole time until just now. So is she clicking for anybody else?
Yep.
All right, let me pull you out and pull you back in.
Oh, that pull-out game is strong. Jeez, look at that.
Go ahead and talk for me, Mo.
Is that better?
What is going on? Go ahead and do me a favor, log out and log back in. We'll do introductions and we'll have you come back. It's not that bad. We can deal with it, but I just prefer we'll try it again. So we'll be right here.
Okay.
Don't worry.
All right.
So we all heard from Kevin already. Soonie, give us a rundown on your week. How you doing?
My week has been great. I took a break from social media and I came back and people were like, where the F were you? I even had a lady say, I should pay a subscription to tune into your stuff because I was like super bored when you were gone. So many people were like, why did you leave for so long? Because we need a break. All right. Censorship is a bitch. Trolls are a bitch. And I needed an effing break. So I'm back. And of course it is Christmas break here. So I will be in and out doing other shows. TikTok is up and running. I have some new stuff I'm going to be doing on there as well as Meta, and it's going to be a good time.
Love it. What is your TikTok name?
I don't know. I don't know by heart.
That's a fantastic name for TikTok.
We'll get it before the show is over. If you ever want to watch any of our stuff afterwards, don't know if things will get taken down. So far, we've been pretty good on that. But hashtag BetheChange.com/podcast is the place to go. I'll have this ticker on the bottom. If you'd like to support us, please go to patreon.com/BetheChange USA. And then for the store, if you like some of the stuff you see, including Casey's new shirt you got right there, we got Soonie's Unveed Lives Matter. We've got the Awake Not Woke hats, Awake, all that. Go to awakenotwokestore.com. And you've got Soonie stuff there too. You got Mata gear, Make America Think Again, and the colored Unveed shirts as well. So check that out at awakenotwokestore.com. The code until Christmas for 20% off is Omicron. Omicron is the code on that one. Mo, go ahead and talk for me again.
Is this better?
Perfect. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know why it does that stuff. Last thing I want to say, Great American Summit. We'll mention it again by the end. Casey, I actually just cleared my cache. Can you do me a huge favor? Put the link up in the box with the Russo. Oh, never mind. Look at Nikki killing it. Killing the game. So there it is right there. If you guys want to put it in the YouTube thing if you can as well. So greatamericansummit.com if you want details. But that link right there will get you everywhere and it'll let me know that you're coming. It's Dallas, Texas, January 7th and 8th. The whole crew will be there. And Mo, you live in the Dallas area, correct?
Yes, but you guys will not believe this. I got a jury duty notice for that time frame.
That Friday? It's a Friday, Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, just tell them you're extremely biased.
Yeah, just walk in and say, the best way to get out of there is say, "Oh, if cops accusing him, I always believe the police."
Did I get kicked out of Be the Change? What happened there?
What do you mean?
So, you said the whole. Did you give me a surprise ticket to Texas?
No, you live in Okinawa, Japan. You live in Japan.
They're gonna
by the way,
I'm messing with you. You said the whole crew, so I had to pick fun of you.
Anakin Skywalker up there. Like, come on now.
Japan's numbers, by the way, are sick. Like their vid numbers are ridiculous. Like how low they are, and what do they actually believe in? Natural health.
Are we just gonna ignore the fact
therapies.
that I've been gone for 10 days dealing with this whole
Easy.
thing?
I didn't
You are
know that.
I'm coming. Calm down. I'm coming down to you, for goodness sakes. All right. So easy. You've been gone for a while. You battled what we believe may have been the vid, and Mo, we'll get back to you at least maybe coming on Saturday. Don't worry about it. Just if you want to come, just come. Easy.
Okay.
Tell us where
I mean,
you've
I
been.
will.
That's enough of that.
Thank you.
All right. No, really.
I
Easy. What's
got
up?
into a fight, and the kung flu was very serious for about 15 minutes every day. Did a little antibody treatment. I gotta tell you, that's the stuff. It's gold. So anybody who, come down with something, go get checked out. But if I had to choose between this, that, or the other, the route I took is probably the easiest and simplest to health.
What?
It's called Kevin is big. It's not. Natural immunity is not just a place in Japan. Oh, what happened to Mo?
What happened to Mo?
Mo fell away.
Mo,
come back.
Eric, you offended her.
All
Eric
right,
did it.
We'll have Mo
I'm
come back.
used
Soonie, go ahead and message on the side. There she is.
No,
She's back.
back.
Mo, what happened? AKA Mo, I like that. All right. Tracy.
Her internet
Tracy
is struggling.
It was doing just fine. I don't know what happened. All right, we'll keep her back for a second. We'll see if that gets fixed up. Worst case, Mo, I know you can probably hear me right now. I know that the setup is great on your computer. There she is.
popped up.
It's better. What's going on, Mo? Is there a storm in Texas I don't know about?
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Mo.
We aren't going to be
Okay.
able to. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, you muted yourself again.
I don't know.
There we go. Oh, she's having the Kevin problem where she'll mute and then unmute, mute and then unmute.
Oh, no. You mean the Kevin problem when I unmute and somebody else clicks mute right as
Is
I
that
do
better?
it?
Yeah, Kevin, are you stoned right now? I just saw your eyes. Never mind. All right. All right.
Okay,
I think
I'm
we're
good now, right?
I think so. Yeah.
See.
We'll try. We'll see. We'll figure it out. All right. So let's start with a softer topic. Oh, and I want to talk a little bit about last week before we get into it, because I think there's something interesting to be had. There's a lot of responses like, "Why are you guys arguing? We can't argue. We can't do this. We got to." In this world, we are not going to always agree on everything. That is key. In order for us to grow as a channel, for us to grow as a group of people, for us to grow as human beings, we have to have hard conversations. That was what this show is based off of. That's how it started with Cash. That's how it started before then, is not always agreeing on things. We are very similar people that have different opinions, and to have those conversations in front of you guys, as you guys get to be a live audience to our disagreements. That does not mean we dislike each other in any less. We feel different about each other, but in order to grow, we have to have a little bit of pain. And sometimes for 3 weeks, we disagreed more on topics than we're used to. And that was what came out of it. That is not something bad. That is not something scary. It makes us better at having a discussion. It makes you as the viewer better at having a discussion. And Mo is killing me. So I don't know what's going on with the internet. If Soonie, if you want to message her, just tell her, worst case, just have her get on her phone. And then the phone will
I think
work.
she is on her phone.
Oh, really? Figure out what's going on. Anyway, so yes, as Barbara said right here, there is no echo chambers. That is the whole thing. We want to be able to have at it, have a discussion, learn from each other, learn from the world around us, and to move forward in that.
So if I yell loud enough, my room does echo. So I don't know if that qualifies.
Oh my God! All right, I got you. We see you. We see you there, Mo. Go ahead and shut down. Bring it back. Maybe clear the cache. We'll have you up there. So let's start with some light topics. Casey, what's going? Not light, but it doesn't, fully involve. Casey, what's going on in North Korea right now?
Wait, no.
Wait, no, what?
I was laughing.
Oh,
We should probably send Kevin out there on just some fun. Let me zoom in
Yeah.
here. Oh, wow. A little too far. So North
He's
Korea.
a little bit like Dennis.
Look, I'm too charismatic. I'd come back like semi-dictator of North Korea.
So North Korea is really promoting American freedom for the next 10 days. Apparently there is a process. I've been missing Concert Rangers. Yes, I have been too. But there's been a process that has been in North Korea for quite a long time. Apparently, as one of their leaders passes away, they celebrate the past leader, and they celebrate it by taking away all of the fun. You must refrain from shopping, recreation, even laughing as country members. You also cannot have any alcohol, and you can't do anything for fun for 10 days traditionally, but if it falls on a 10-year anniversary like this year it does, they add an extra day. So you literally have no freedoms for 11 days. And my video quality is probably awful. Hang on, I just know.
Look, they have no freedom for 365 days.
True.
But they have more on the other days than these days, for sure.
Do you think anyone's laughed in North Korea in like 11 years?
Laughed? Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, Kim Jong probably laughs.
I bet she laughs at Brandon all the time. He would take Brandon.
Starve.
But it's crazy when people are like, "Oh, some of these countries are not too bad." It's like, okay, go deal with this. Like, if America is so bad, go and look at North Korea and see what it's like. Tell me how you will fit in. And a lot of these things get overlooked that no one pays attention to in comparing to other countries.
We do have at least one similarity with North Korea.
What's that?
According to John Roberts, our abortion laws.
Valid. All right.
Abortion is murder. Just wanted to say
topics.
that.
I just wanted to throw that. I wanted to throw that wrench into your light topics.
No,
abortion is murder.
All right. Moving on. Let's go ahead and go to. We've knocked off North Korean days.
Where's Tyler when you need him?
Does anybody have, before we move into Charlemagne, with Joe Manchin? There's some good being said. There's some bad being said. This is about kind of a news giving the truth on it, because I mean, Biden said something during his speech today that Joe Manchin has said that that Biden wasn't the one that deceived anybody, and Joe admitted that it was him, which I can't find any evidence of that whatsoever. And then Joe is blocking. He's blocking, obviously, the Build Back Better, but then there's also some conservatives mad at him. I'm super confused. Can anybody clear up exactly what's going on with Joe Manchin? Is he a hero right now, or is he even worse than the Democratic Party?
You can say he's a hero because he's here's the quote of the day, Bernie. How can one man stop this millions of people from getting the money? It's like, first and foremost, it's one plus the other 50 people that were also with him on voting against it. But mainly the thing is that Joe Manchin from the beginning said he wasn't really going to want to vote on this at all. There were quite a few things in it he had very strong questions against, but there was a couple things that he said, hey, if you guys can work it out on this, specifically like the child earned income tax credit and like a couple other things, then I'll vote for it. And the Democrats kind of got those, and then he still looked at it and said, yeah, but y'all are fucking insane, and I'm in the reddest state in America. I'm not voting for this.
Do you think he will?
So he eventually came back and said, well, if you'll play ball on these topics, and I don't know them off the top of my head, that he would vote for it. So he's doing his whole flip-flop thing. As of right now, he's a no vote. But there's some special interest stuff that he was looking at that he wants, and then he did today, I believe, make a comment about if they will repeal all of the Trump tax cuts, that he would potentially be a yes as well. So it seems like he's playing hardball kind of with his constituents, trying to get the best deal for him. We'll see.
So then that'll lead us into the next topic with Charlemagne, which I know Soonie's going to come back with a video whenever she can, I think, of the Charlemagne interview with Kamala, because he said, who's the president right now? Is it Joe Biden or is it Joe Manchin? Which was, I mean, Charlemagne, in my opinion, is hot garbage as it is, but whatever. So do you want to play the clip first, Soonie?
He's not the hero we wanted.
Go ahead.
We'll have to pause and play and pause and play.
And introduce it because I know you've watched it a couple times. I've never watched.
Yeah, I did.
I've watched the snippet.
So this was a clip where Kamala gets triggered, her inner black woman, because she says she's African American, but every time we hear from her, she's an Asian, she's Indian, or whatever else the fuck she wants to be. But her inner black woman was like, I'm talking. She got pissed off because he asked her a logical question. Who's the president?
It was her inner, this is my caste and you're in a lower caste kind of thing,
No, it was her inner black woman. Don't try to clean it up for her.
That was an Indian reference because she claims Indian too.
Yes.
Yeah, she thinks whatever works for her that week.
She's a citizen of the world. Okay.
First off, before we get started, is this the new way Charlemagne does his show? Like he's in Star Trek? Like, did you notice that?
Mo, what the freaking freak?
What is?
I guess
what is going on with Mo?
I don't know.
Internet. This is another podcast that he has. This is not the Breakfast Club.
Oh, this is where he's the head of the Star Trek Voyager.
I happen to like this. I mean, I would be in that room if it was just strictly red, but let me play this video.
Yeah.
So who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlemagne.
Come
on. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican about asking.
Hold up.
Oh, you're allowed to disagree.
So only Republicans ask common sense questions? Thank you for saying we're smarter than you are, Democrats. That was great.
We said this the other night. It's so funny. It is her stall tactic. It is her stall tactic to actually come up with a thought. She's like, hold on. Now, wait a second. Now, don't you? Like, meanwhile, the hamster in her head is like, oh, shit.
That hamster is going to die pretty soon here.
Well, I hope so. The thing with her,
she did a Joe Biden. Come on, man.
I hate her head bobbing when she's trying to convince you of something that you're doing. She sits there and nods her head for like 5 minutes. And it's like,
is she
like slap you?
Is she like, how the hell anybody was able to supplant Hillary Clinton as the most unpalatable human being in the public world? Like, bravo, Kamala. Like, absolutely bravo. Just, it's almost as bad as seeing a full screen of Anthony.
Her name is Camel Toe. All right, that's what we'll refer to her on the show.
Asking whether or not he's president. It's Joe Biden.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden.
And it's Joe Biden. Yo, I love when she was stuttering.
This is a perfect freeze frame you got right here, by the way.
Don't you guys like getting me personally? I like getting people so riled up to the point where they stutter. Because then I know I got you. You are pissed and you're struggling to find the words and you're stuttering. And it's Joe Biden, is it?
Oh, yeah.
And I am the VP.
She's got the fucking finger out there, like shh. Like,
what's she gonna do? Leviosa?
I'm Vice President. My name is Kamala Harris. And the reality is, because we are in office, we do.
Wait, pause that. The hamster was spinning like it was trying so fucking hard it stopped on. Just say your name. Just do it.
No, she had a Joe Biden moment. She's been taking
God. My name is Kamala Harris. Yeah, that's like, oh my gosh.
So Mo, I know you're watching. Come back on, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure you can throw this up immediately on your YouTube right after. I'll have it downloaded and I'll give you the link. So we'll get it to you that way, so that if it's not messing with your feed, we'll try that. The other thing I was going to say about Kamala, what we didn't play before this is what led into this. Is Charlemagne asked her this same question, and she got interrupted by her helper.
Yeah, we can play that too.
Well, I mean, it doesn't need to be, but it's like right when that question came up, they were going to pull her. They cannot take a hard question.
You're about to hear it again. You're about to hear.
Okay,
yeah, you're about to hear it.
They did it before this, and they did it. So they're trying to. They refuse to answer any hard questions in this administration. Period. We saw that today during the speech. We'll talk about it later. Go ahead, Kamala.
Things like the child tax credit, which is going to reduce Black child poverty by 50%, on track to do.
How, Sway?
I want to know. Yeah, well, where's the mathematical reasoning behind a child tax credit? So poverty is a poverty level. Am I wrong? So poverty level is right there. So if you get a child tax credit, that means that you don't have to pay taxes on a certain amount of income. How is that going to get 50% of Black children out of poverty? There is no math that actually works. There's no world. There's no world.
And half of those kids couldn't even afford a box of cereal anymore, thanks to the inflation. Like,
can I say something real quick?
Of course.
You forgot to
and
carry
this
the
is
one.
why we should repeal the 19th, because of mathematics like this that women do.
That's not even
ladies and gentlemen, the VP of America.
That's not even Common Core. That is one of the dumbest mathematical. Play the rest. Go ahead.
Do that.
She just forgot to carry the one.
We do things that are about saying that our Department of Justice is going to do these investigations and require.
The fuck does this have to do with anything?
And have body cameras.
Ma'am, hold on, I'm gonna do it, Tyler. Buddy. Stop interrupting. Answer my question. Is Joe Biden or Joe Manchin the president? We ain't talking about little Black kids and these tax credits. Who is the effing president?
No, you got to do the Jesse Lee Peterson. But is Joe Biden or Joe Manchin the president of the United States?
Beta. I love that dude.
Go ahead.
It is the work of saying we're going to get lead out of pipes and paint because our babies are suffering because of that. It is the work of saying people who ride public transit
asked about Joe Manchin or Joe Biden.
That anybody else does. So let's improve that system.
Wait. She just said the same people that I'm going to run it back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm got sorry. You because the guy in the bottom left was chit-chatting. Kevin,
we're going to need to review the play.
Yep.
Transit deserve the same kind of. It is the work of saying people who ride public transit deserve the same kind of dignity that anybody else does.
What the hell is she talking about?
How many rich folks take the transit because it's cheaper?
I mean, in New York,
what in the Rosa Parks
in
is she
New York,
talking about?
You drive, you get driven. What the. I have never. There's been one city that I've lived in my entire life that I could take public transit, and that was Monterey, and that was because I was in the Army and we weren't allowed to drive.
This is so. It's literally like, okay, who's the president? I am not answering that question. That you know who the president, and I am the vice president. And while I'm at it, let me really quick virtue signal. So pipes, Black children, and all these things, and a credit because you know that we can get them and out of the struggle. And because, of course, how can you not feel the struggle and the pain? What did she just say? What did she just say?
I don't know. She doesn't care about the single parent home. She doesn't care about the fact that we make up most of the abortions, if not all. She isn't talking about the drug problem, the jail problem. She's not talking about none of that. We're talking about public transportation. Huh?
Why?
Really I just have to point this out, which is, Kamala was part of the decision making for the train to nowhere that never happened in California.
Yeah,
she was part of that era of decision making, and so this idea that somebody like her is going to fix some sort of imaginary problem of equality in public transit systems. I just have to say,
I'm very confused because Charlemagne asked her that question in the video I saw. It almost went immediately to her getting cut off. So
that happened before this, and then they went. She's like, I'll answer the question, and then he said it again.
Gotcha.
And that's where we took off there.
Are y'all aware of what she also said? I think it was today or last night about how no one is to blame for this virus at all. No one is to blame.
No.
Yeah, let me find that while we watch it.
All right, go ahead.
So let's improve that system. It is the work of saying that we have got to bring down prescription drug costs because folks who have diabetes should not be dying because they don't have enough money in their pocket.
Did Trump not do that? And the first thing they did when they got in office is make it completely unaffordable. And now you want to talk about diabetes? Are you kidding me?
Wilford Brimley is rolling over in his grave at that statement.
I know that dude. I know his grandson really well.
I'm Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
All right,
Mo, where you at, man? You cannot leave me by myself. Get back on here.
Yeah, Mo, you got to come back here.
It's about saying Black maternal mortality is a real issue that must be treated by everybody, including the White House, as a serious issue.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I've had 3 children, okay, and I've never been treated any way because I was Black and a mom. It just didn't happen. It just didn't. I was brought into this world A-okay. I never heard my mom complain about being targeted because she was Black and giving birth. I don't know where they pull these things from, other than women just being completely irrational and emotional if they have children, because we are. Your hormones are like it's a big clusterfuck.
They know race works. They say the same things about COVID. Black people are more likely to die of COVID than white people, except for the fact that America is at 2,000 deaths per million, and there are no African countries above 100 deaths per million to this disease.
And fireworks are racist. Did you remember that? So is the air, apparently, and the sun, and everything else.
Let's finish up with Krusty.
Okay, so I hear the frustration.
What?
What?
No,
you don't.
No, you hear the frustration, but you did not hear the question.
And agree also that there is a whole lot more work to be done. And it is not easy to do, but we will not give up. And I will not give up.
I just want you to know that Madam Vice President, that Kamala Harris, that's the one I like. That's the one that was
Charlemagne is the worst.
Charlemagne's horrible.
All right. I would have been like, hey, ma'am, we're going to circle back. So who's the president?
No,
Charlemagne.
She didn't answer.
Garbage.
She went on that rant because she is so mad that she can't say she is the president. That is why.
I was legitimately confused because her answer did not connect to that question at all.
Is Charlemagne so bad at his job, but again, he's culture, and I guess that's why people watch it, whatever. Is he so bad at what he does that he didn't realize that she didn't answer a damn part of that question and rambled for 2 minutes about absolutely nothing? Does he even realize that? Did he go back and watch the replay and be like, oh damn, I missed a follow-up on that one? Or does he just not get I don't get his purpose and why he has so many people watch him. I've never seen an interesting show. Umar, what's that one guy? The ultra
Lil Dicky went on there and spit some hot bars on him, but that's
there's
about
a couple shows where he's had some guests that challenged him.
Are you talking about Umar?
Yeah,
I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo ass.
He's a weirdo, but he lit him up. He knows his stuff. So it's like Charlemagne is just some dude that has a decent voice, knows hip hop. I don't get his. I don't understand.
Charlemagne. Let's just keep it a band. Charlemagne is a booty bandit. Okay, and the booty bandits run the entertainment industry. So he's got a spot. I'm just saying. P. Diddy said it best. What? No. Jamie Foxx in the Foxhole. Fingers in the booty at these parties. Trust me, I've been there. This is why Charlemagne has a spot.
You been to the party?
You been to these?
Hey.
Was Harvey Weinstein there?
You kept it a band.
Hey.
Wait. So how does Suge? What does Suge do?
Oh my God, you're muted.
putting pressure on people in Senate hearings. That's the one I'd like to see more often out here. So who's the?
She didn't answer the question. Charlemagne didn't press her because he's an idiot. Circle back.
So does he want to see the Kamala that can't answer a question? Sounds like she's still back pretending to be, because she's not from, but pretending like she's in the hood. That's the one that he wants to be leading our country.
She said black people, and that was the buzzword.
Hold
black
on,
children.
Republicans. No. Do we want that on I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
I wish Republican has turned into current American culture's Voldemort. You who must not be partied, whatever. All she had to do was call him a Republican and he backed out. Ever live in hell down. It's
look, he ain't trying to lose his black card.
Yeah. So I was gonna say this is so similar to when he had this whole transaction with Joe and you ain't black thing. The dude literally he asked a reasonable question.
Sorry.
He asked a reasonable question. She deflects to anger and then slams him as being something. I don't think he presented the question that way. I don't think he meant it that way, but these are softball questions. These are not even hard to answer questions. These are like, what are you talking about? Of course, we're going to get Joe Manchin in line and we'll get this bill passed and we'll build back. Like, it's a simple question. The lack of mental fortitude from these individuals, and I think Soonie hit it on the head. She got angry. She wanted to answer the question and shut Charlemagne down because she didn't like the way his culture their cultures were clashing. Like, he asked a reasonable question given the circumstances about policy, and she fires back with basically, "You're a Republican. You betrayed us."
Yeah, don't be a race traitor is basically what she said.
I think what she was saying, because I think at first she almost misunderstood the question, because I don't think she's smart enough to do really anything. She's the new modern day Palin, but partially worse. So she, I think at first was being like, is Joe like she heard Joe Biden isn't the real president. I think that's what she heard. I think she screwed up. I don't know if that was in the first thing in her head. And then once she realized that wasn't what was said, I think she tried to find some other ground to speak.
What did you just say?
You got to realize.
Repeat that. Please repeat that first.
I think the first thing she heard when she said, "Don't be a Republican," is she heard the typical rallying cry that Joe Biden didn't win the presidency. I think that was the trigger thing in her head when she goes, "Is Joe Biden I think when he said, "Is Joe Biden the president or Joe Manchin?" I think her first brain misunderstood the question. And then she started to scramble and realize, oh no, he was talking about what Joe Manchin is doing, because he didn't answer. That's when she started getting into the Build Back Better plan, is when she had to scramble and get there. I don't know.
What went through her head was for the last 2.5 months, I've been in meeting after meeting after meeting with major Democratic players saying we are getting fucking destroyed in the 2022 midterms, and we need to reinstate any and all. Yeah, this is very true. What she heard was we need to start trying to figure out how to win campaigns. And of course, as always, the number one way to win a campaign is to insinuate everyone's racist. Calling someone a Republican is to not. If you have convinced everyone that you're opposition, or you believe you have, that your opposition is racist, calling someone by your opposition, they're going to do it again in 2022. They're going to try to play that card.
Kevin, wasn't this the party that said that they were trying to unify the country when they're just blatantly separating it?
She said, don't be a Republican, because all she can see is all the fucking PowerPoints she's had presented to her by Democratic National Committee people saying, so guys, this red wave, it's going to be like the Crimson Tide, Roll Tide all over the country.
How did she just become Linda Richmond? Right? You said
that was whatever the Democratic nominee was.
You said this is Willie Brown. I'm thinking more Montel Williams. I think this is how she used to watch the Montel Williams show.
She just says stupid shit like this.
It is no one's fault that this virus hit our shores or hit the world. It is.
She said that.
We just stop giving. I don't like how soft you guys are being on this diabolical woman. All right, she's a representation of the hybrid modern day woman who doesn't know how to put her dick away. She got pissed off because Charlemagne said what he said, and she pulled her penis out, and she was like, "Oh, you want to have a pissing match? Well, let's go, buddy."
She was like, let's measure.
She's well aware of everything she does. She literally said Trump was the cause of this virus and the reason it was so bad in her debates and in her campaigning. She knows what she's doing. Every fucking one of these politicians, I'm very pissed off at this. Every one of these people thinks they're a goddamn Machiavellian, thinks that they're, oh my God, I'm so much smarter than the average person. They'll never see through any of this. I'm better than you. You cannot see my ploys. I am a Machiavellian princess. And they're fucking idiots because we record everything. We know when you're lying.
She doesn't wear a dress.
So the thing with Kamala is, I think by now they were already planning on having her as president, and they're realizing she is so unlikable that she's even worse than Joe. Joe right now is being held up like
worse than Hillary.
She's worse than everybody. But they were, I think they're like, all right, we got this. We'll write her in. She'll be the good one. She'll be the knight in shining armor. As Biden, we need to use the 25th Amendment. And right now they realize that option is not on the table. They are screwed on. No, we are not bringing her into office.
Sorry,
The
Nancy.
cumulative IQ between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is a single-digit number. Like I just want to say that. Like these people are really, really, really a drain on society's resources.
I think Kamala's smarter than you think. I just think she's
she thinks
I'm
she's
smarter than Kamala.
She
got like
thinks she's
7
smarter
brain
than
cells floating
you
around
think.
saying the same shit.
So
Which
just
is
on an all serious note, right? She didn't mishear him. She heard Joe Manchin and Joe Biden.
she might.
And Joe Manchin is the only one holding up the Build Back Better plan. And instead of answering the question, what she did was, like the caption said, she defended Joe Biden. She defended the Build Back Better plan. And what she did was sprinkle a little pander in there. Oh, he's a black guy. Oh, this is who is speaking for the black community, just like Cardi B did during the election cycle. Let me tell them what they want to hear. We're fighting for black babies, black mothers, and the situation that's going on in Flint. Here you go.
No, you're right. No, you're right. What I'm saying is, and if you kind of play the order of it, when she immediately goes, "Don't be a Republican," I think she might have been thinking about is Joe Biden the real president? Because that's when she did the whole wait a minute, and that's when we're talking about the hamster wheel spinning, and then she came back realizing that we're talking about Joe Manchin. She knew, but I feel like it took her like 20 seconds.
She was on with Charlemagne the God. No part of her is thinking Charlemagne's an election denier. Every part of her is thinking Charlemagne is an incredibly influential character in the black communities, and calling him a Republican is synonymous with calling him conservative, and we have painted those people as racist for the past 10 years. So when she calls a black man a Republican, she in her mind is saying, don't be one of them racists.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You want to know what she did? She said, "What's your name, boy?" He said, "Kuta."
I'm wondering what took her 20 seconds. I'm wondering what took her 20 seconds of circling back. Like, I don't, she's whatever. All right, we're done with that.
Your name is Toby, boy.
Let's talk Kim Potter trial.
My uncle's name is Thomas.
I've looked more into the Tony Timpa. If anybody knows the Tony Timpa story,
Kelly Thomas, throw another one on there.
What happened?
Oh yeah, he was another homeless guy that got destroyed by
Kelly Thomas was from where I'm from. He's from Orange County. Kelly Thomas had a police officer at one point stand over him, put his fists in front of his face, and say, "I will kill you with these," and beat him to death.
Crazy.
Police officers got off on that one. Oh, by the way, Kelly Thomas was a white man.
Yeah.
So it was Tony Timpa. So we got two, but the Tony Timpa's case right now, a federal appeals court on Wednesday of last week ruled that Dallas police officers violated a mentally ill man's constitutional rights when they pinned him on the ground for 14 minutes before he stopped breathing, and the officers could be held liable for this 2016 death. Again, this is why we constantly talk about it not being about race. It's about the fact that there are some shitty police officers out there. So this is the federal court is overturning the decision, saying that the police officer had qualified immunity. So it's looking like they might be reopening. It might be something where some justice is actually served. We're correcting the wrongs of the past, which is great. Whether it's white, black, purple, it doesn't really matter. It's correcting the wrongs of the past. So,
Tony Timpa was his name was mentioned a lot around the George Floyd, like the initial back in June. People were talking about, hey, look, Tony Timpa. You guys didn't care when it was Tony Timpa in Dallas. You guys didn't care when it was Kelly Thomas in California. You guys didn't care when it was Duncan fucking Lemp in Maryland.
Sorry, Nancy.
They're literally 3 completely conjoined cases. Tony Timpa, George Floyd, same exact thing. Breonna Taylor and Duncan Lemp, same exact thing, except Duncan Lemp, I'm probably going to get killed for talking about him, right? That's one of the ones people should.
Is that the hotel room? Is Duncan the hotel room?
No, that's Daniel Schaefer.
That's Daniel Schaefer who was crawling on his hands and knees toward the police officer who was killed. There was Ryan Thompson in Arizona. 2 a.m.
Ryan Whitaker.
Ryan Whitaker. That's the name. 2 a.m. in Arizona. Cops pounding on his fucking door. He opens it with a gun in his hand. Sees it's cops. Goes to put it down and gets shot.
Yep.
God, Kevin is like a beautiful mind. He's like, all of a sudden, you know, he doesn't look very smart. Looks like he smokes way too much weed. And then bam, he's got everything on Rolodex. He's got like the Ben Shapiro brain. It's impressive. I'd say a line, but it would involve the R word. But he's like the, you know.
I'm regarded very highly.
There's not enough room on the screen for his head to keep swelling. So,
but it's impressive.
No. Also, in 2012, Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams were completely destroyed by police officers, and all 7 of them got off, no charges. So justice for them. They're actually bringing case back.
What
to
about
light.
the ATF? The ATF that threw a fucking flashbang in a baby's crib and killed the baby?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they got off with that.
Yet people all of a sudden were bringing up the case about the police officer that killed the 9-month-old. Or the 3-month-old in May, because it was brought up by Black Lives Matter activists because they're not pressing charges. Why are they not pressing charges? The father, the reason it's a big deal is it was a black baby, but the father had just killed the baby mama and killed the baby mama's, I think, either brother or mother, and then took the kid, used him as a human shield, went on a 150-mile high-speed chase that led to a shootout. This is not one of the cases that you guys just brought up. And this is the one that they decide to piggyback on and say justice must be served for the 3-year-old. No, that was the father killed his child in that case. So I want to go back really quick to Tony Timpa, and actually this is a good one. How many people don't know about Tony Timpa's case? And your comment 1 if you have no idea who Tony Timpa is. So I've already seen a few. Go ahead and put 1 in the comment box. Nicole said 1, Barbara said 1, and Barbara's from near Dallas, which is crazy that she doesn't know. So Tony Timpa, whenever people would say to me, like, there is no way in any way, shape, or form a cop would ever do that to a white man, talking about George Floyd. And here we have Tony Timpa that had happened 4 years before it, the exact same case, and actually was on his back for even longer. So that is so crazy. Look at all this.
Can we talk about the fact that Kim Potter is full of shit?
Go for it. I have not. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a objector on this.
Hopefully, Mo is coming on soon.
Yeah. She said 10 minutes. Do we want to wait for? Do we want to see if hers?
If she's in the comments, we'll see. Do you want us to wait, or do you want us to start talking about it? I'm sorry. I laughed just like I laughed at Kyle Rittenhouse when he had his ugly ass crying face on. I lost my mind. I died laughing. And most people will be like, it's not funny. He's suffering from PTSD. We're human. The faces he was making was hilarious. She did the exact same thing. She tried to take a note out of Kyle Rittenhouse's book and went over the jury by crying with absolutely no tears. Which is none.
Kyle Rittenhouse won the jury over because he was articulate. He killed it. No pun intended. He was incredibly sharp. And fact is, it was clear that he was innocent. The crying was actually the thing that hurt him, in my opinion. If there was anything that I thought hurt him in that case, was after his 4 hours of testimony. That crying was the weakest part of the trial.
We are seeing it through his screen. You can think the faces he was making was funny, and I don't give a shit. He was crying though. I have spoken to enough people that have,
We're not defending Kyle here. I'm just talking about their funny faces.
Yeah, but she's again, I don't know. Just because you think someone should be generating tears when they're crying doesn't mean they necessarily have to. But I'm on the fence because I know that in the immediate aftermath of what she did in that moment, she felt insanely bad. So that translating into recalling the event wouldn't surprise me, but I think she was trying to make it more than it was, because at the end of the day, she can't look back at that event. She was pulling the taser out of mercy. She was justified in pulling her gun. And as she's been recalling it, you've got to think that's kind of crept into her mind, and it's going to be hard for her to feel bad necessarily if she actually thinks she was justified.
Justified in pulling the gun. Why?
Because there was the potential for her partner dying. Deadly force was authorized in that kind of situation. She chose to go for her taser. If there is threat to the life of the officer and he's got a warrant on his ass, according to our judicial system, I'm going to use Anthony's argument from the other day. I tend to agree with it. Like what?
What does his warrant have to do with what happened?
So him being wanted for whatever crime it is, a warrant is supposed to be the ultimatum of you're coming in, like you're getting arrested. That's you. We are initiating violence against you. So because the government had signed off on, and people would agree normally that if someone has a warrant out, are they okay? Is it justifiable to arrest them or attempt to arrest them? People that believe in our justice system would agree. Because he had that warrant out, it was justifiable to try to bring him in by initiating violence, by resisting a justifiable arrest and putting the partner in danger. She was authorized to save her friend. So I don't necessarily have, that's the argument. That is the argument for her, right? I don't really know where I land on it.
Soonie, you've been following this one pretty close, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of have a similar take as Kevin.
I'm not saying that's my take. I'm saying that's the argument.
Well, I actually agree with the argument. So the question, and I haven't been following it super close. I've seen a few minutes of her testimony and a handful of interesting statutes and how they kind of compare to what happened. I've seen the video about 100 times because they play it everywhere. But one of the things that I continue to see across the board in this particular scenario is that people continue to assume that using a taser was the correct and only choice. And I will contend only that the person had a vehicle. He was stopped and detained lawfully by officers, and he resisted arrest at that point and chose to get in his vehicle, which then becomes a potential deadly force opportunity.
It becomes a deadly weapon in that
car
situation.
around and run him over. There's all sorts of things that could happen. So whether or not she meant to pull her taser, that may be the difference between her getting a negligence, the charge becoming negligent or not. I don't know. I don't know that much about it, but I have to assume that the intent to use a taser, if it was there, would not be something that would pop into her mind and immediately be remorseful in a video.
But she yelled taser.
Let me ask. The question becomes, Soonie, if you are open carrying, let's say you're wild enough to open carry two things, a gun on your right hip and a taser on your left hip as an open carry, and someone were to physically assault you. Let's say in your response to that, if you told the person physically assaulting you, taser, 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 pulled your gun and shot him, would you be justified in your action?
No, you have a responsibility as a gun owner to know what the fuck you're doing. And guns and tasers feel very different.
Is the person assaulting you committing an offense that would have justified deadly force in response to it?
This is kind of like it's a false equivalency because she wasn't being attacked.
Let's remove the taser from the occasion. Say the only thing you have a gun is a gun and the same exact thing happens. Are you okay using that gun to stop the force, stop the threat?
If I'm being attacked?
Yes.
And I'm in fear of my life? Of course. Use a gun.
So why does it change if there's a taser on your other hip?
Number one, she yelled taser. Two, she's a cop.
I don't care what I yell.
It doesn't matter what you care about. She's got 26 years on the job. Number one, she's got 26 years on the job. You're yelling taser. We hold cops to a certain standard. It just is what it is. Let's not remove it now because we want to compare.
The same as my standard. The standard should be would I have gotten away with it in the same situation? Then she was okay with doing it. If I would have gotten off as a citizen doing it, she should not be.
I don't think you would have gotten off.
You wouldn't have gotten off. So say that we know that this man has committed a violent crime and we are justified in arresting him, the equivalent of a warrant. Say my friend goes around to perform the citizen's arrest. This man we watched this man assault someone. My friend reaches in because we're doing the Good Samaritan thing. It's not. I'm describing it as the two peace officers.
It sounds like he's playing a devil's advocate. I don't think he agrees necessarily with what he's saying. He's challenging it based on
That's cool. This is what the question.
No, it's not a false equivalency at all. The question is someone justified in using deadly force to stop someone in a car from harming someone else?
Okay, I have to answer this question. There was less than a split second. There's no way the cops are going to see any of that. That's a non-point.
If she killed if she used her gun in a situation where the gun would have been appropriate, how can you convict her no matter what she says?
Casey, do you have any thoughts on this?
If she just said Hitler, Hitler, that wouldn't have made her a Nazi when she shot.
I have a lot of thoughts on it. I haven't watched a lot of the trial for understanding some of the evidence that was there, but I did see some of the clips that were released, which is also very disappointing. I think Dante Wright's family should definitely sue the police department, in my opinion.
Yes,
because they had a huge failure of communication as soon as he got in that car and he was shot. That they stood out the car with their guns drawn, pointing at the car, and telling him to get out when he's in there bleeding, and he's like, "I'm not gonna get. Like, why would I get out of the car?" And he ended up dying because they couldn't give help soon enough. Anyways, on the topic of Kim Potter, the problem I have is where I want things to where you are accountable for your actions. And when you intend to use a taser, which means you intend to not use lethal force, and you withdraw the wrong weapon and use lethal force, there needs to be consequences for that action.
Was lethal force allowed?
I don't think so in that case, no.
So you wouldn't have gotten away with it. I think you would have.
So I have.
I'm going to be honest. I think the reason that this is even a topic of conversation is because she's a woman. Had this been a man who was on the job for this long, you would be holding him accountable. Bro, you know your job description. You know the difference between a man and a woman. We got to stop she didn't mean to. It was an accident. Bitch, you said taser and you pulled your weapon and you ultimately ended somebody's life. So, now, did she have the right to pull the gun if she was going to pull the gun? Yes, but you don't get to use that as a fail-safe. Well, she was justified in doing it because of this. No, you pulled your taser. Your intent was a taser, period, point blank, and you didn't pull your taser.
The question is if you are in a situation where deadly force is okay to use.
She created it. Right? Watch the entire thing. She created that situation.
Okay, but the question I'm asking you is if deadly force is allowed, and these are two separate questions. Is deadly force allowed, right? Was deadly force allowed? Based on the ulterior things going on, as in, was her partner, did he have his body inside the car trying to take the keys or not? And was his life threatened, right? If his life was threatened in that situation, the answer to that question is yes.
So I got to ask Mo, I've got the statute up. I'm looking at it right now, the Minnesota statute. So you're saying that this is the statute that says that, obviously she shouldn't be a cop. She shouldn't have been a cop, but
no, she should never have been out there.
She was so you're saying based on the statute, she was justified in deadly force. This statute is manslaughter in the first degree Minnesota statute. Whoever does any of the following is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree and may be sentenced to imprisonment for not more than 15 years, yada, yada, yada. So number one, intentionally causes the death of another person in the heat of passion provoked by such words or acts would provoke a person of ordinary self-control under like circumstances. That's not this case. Number two, violates section 609.224, causes death of another in committing or attempting to commit a misdemeanor, a gross misdemeanor. He was actually committing a felony, so that one obviously would not be. Number three, intentionally causes the death of another person because the actor is coerced by threats made by someone other than the actor's co-conspirator, in which caused the actor reasonably to believe to the act performed by the actor only means preventing imminent death. So that one she would not be guilty of. 4, approximately causes the death of another without intent to cause death by directly or indirectly, unlawfully selling, giving away, bartering, delivering, exchanging, distributing. No. So it's not like she gave away a bad drug, so she shot somebody. So it's different. Number 5, and the last one, causes the death of another in committing or attempting to commit a violation of section blah, 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 malicious punishment of a child murder in the first, second, or third degree is not committed thereby. So yeah, based on this, in the state of Minnesota, I can't see them finding her guilty of manslaughter in the first degree, period.
Do you think that she should receive any accountability or any type of
if you disagree with the law, that is the issue. But we're talking about, is she guilty under the law? And currently she is not. Whether you think the law is moral or not, I'm just telling you, you cannot prove the necessary and sufficient clauses for this, right? You cannot prove deadly force wasn't necessary. If deadly force was authorized based on what was going on, then it doesn't matter what she pulled. Deadly force was authorized. Her killing him was authorized. She was authorized to kill him in the moment.
No, this is why I feel like people have not watched the footage. Number one, the male officer had it under control until she stepped in. When she stepped in to try to get control of the situation, she exacerbated it. Period. Point blank. If she would have just now she's a training officer. If she would have let the man arrest the suspect, we wouldn't be talking what we're talking about today. She is negligent in what she did. You're a training officer. You're training them on the job. Why would you step in a situation where he has it under control? Watch the video.
That is evidence to suggest the answer to question 1 is no. Deadly force was not authorized.
Well, so suffer some more. Yeah. Somebody lost their life.
If deadly force is not authorized, I don't think it was authorized.
Two things can be true in this situation. One is that what she did was negligent. I can agree across the board. She pulled out a gun when she meant to pull out a taser. I think that's kind of where Soonie and Casey are speaking from, is regardless of the situation, if she had meant to pull her gun, what she said and her actions, therefore, that led to the death of the individual were negligent, right? Because of her training, because of her status as an individual in the community, as an officer of the law, she is now negligent. That does fall into the statute of manslaughter. And so, but I think Soonie brought up a really interesting point earlier that it really got the gears turning in my head, which is a lot of her defense has been predicated on her personal identity as an individual. And so when Soonie said that, I kind of like a little bit of light went on. I was like, well, hold on a second, right? Let's think about this. If a man in the same position were to be having pulled out a gun and said taser, are we going to act the same? I don't know. I'm not saying it is the key element of this, but that is the humanizing element that the defense has been using.
Would we have or should we have?
They're going to exploit the fuck out of it. Exactly.
Would we have or should we have, Eric? Would we have or should we have?
I think
should we have? We should be treating every male in the same situation how we're treating Kim Potter right now, maybe.
Well, we hold men accountable and we give women leeway.
Judge men harder as well. So if that's the case, then she's going to go to jail.
Do you think that is because we judge men above and beyond the law, or women below the law?
So this is an important question. Yeah, it's an important question. Because each state is different in terms of this.
Because he's the victim, Tracy. Sorry, Russo, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So, in the state of Minnesota, there's some places that if you try somebody for something, they can't get a lesser offense. So, can they come back and say, well, innocent for first-degree manslaughter, or does she have multiple charges? Does she have second-degree manslaughter, or what?
Let me see.
The DA has to introduce it as potential charges. I'm pretty sure. Like, did they have to say like? They would have to list it amongst the charges.
So if it is a first degree manslaughter or bust, which I think is dumb on the
she probably get manslaughter.
I think she's going to get off, and I think she should get off on that. But if they introduce a second degree manslaughter, I'd have to look at the stipulation.
I think her presence there. Sorry, Casey. I apologize.
First and second degree manslaughter is her count.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
So second degree manslaughter does, I believe, include negligence. So I think there's no way that she can't get second. I mean, to me, it's blatant. It's pretty cut and dry, to be totally honest, just based on observing what you guys have said and what you have seen. that first degree is off the table. And I've seen the video. When it happened, I watched the video 100 times over and over again. I don't think she can get first degree, but I think that it's a pretty lock and stock second degree.
Yeah, and so like I have been playing the devil's advocate because like I think that she is fully accountable for what she did there. I don't think what he was doing necessarily deserved to die. So,
last question.
Are we
last question?
Like, well, one of the I'm going to jump on this one because I have a question about it, which is, are we kind of all in agreement that the negligence is the problem here?
Yeah.
Like,
she should never have been out there.
Right?
She should never have been. Should not have been the first time she was out there.
So this is something that Casey and I have talked about quite a bit on the show. I think Soonie's talked about it a little bit. Kevin, you talked about it. I know that it's an interesting question, but when we talk about negligence and statutes that include negligence in the criminal statutes, right? Like the bar is really, really low in some instances and really, really high in others. And for police, that bar is really, really.
It should be.
It used to be this high, and now it's coming down to this low, right?
Exactly.
The proportionality of my ability to carry a gun versus a cop's should determine that scale.
Well, that's because you smoke too much.
No, I
completely
mean,
disagree.
The less I'm allowed to carry a gun, the more they're responsible. Like the more responsibility they hold. If I have the equal amount, the least it can be is equal, right? The least it can be is equal.
Is this where the conversation of qualified immunity should be taking place? Like this for me is a policing issue, right? Whether she was trained or not, I don't care. She's carrying the tools on her body. She is somebody who has a like I said, a prominent, statue or stature in the community. At some point, we have to meet people in this conversation in reality. And this is where I think we can have this conversation. I think qualified immunity is very important. So let me say that. But I also understand why people are saying, what the freak? We can't let these people just be negligent for negligence sake. And I think this is an opportunity to look at this and say, look, like people have actions and these are the consequences. And we have to hold across the board. We have to hold people accountable.
Look, you cannot have both protection from this by the Supreme Court that you do not have a duty to put your life out there and be qualified from any mistakes you make when you do.
I have to ask two questions. First off, if she never said taser, and she just flat out made the conscious decision to shoot in that case, does that change anything in your mind?
That would help her case.
Yeah.
No, why? Why would it
I
help
think
her
it would
case?
only help her case because she would not have vocalized that she was not trying to go for a weapon.
You're saying
she was trying to
neutralize the subject.
Sorry,
damn, shut up and let me finish.
I apologize, Soonie. My bad. My bad.
It would change it because she wouldn't have vocalized, hey, I'm going for this taser. This is my first option. What she did was she went for a weapon that she didn't call out. And it's negligent because you're an officer who's training other officers that are watching you. And you weren't. She needs to be held to a certain standard. Like, I'm sorry. Would it be the same for me in my mind from watching it? Yes. I would feel like you need to go to jail for what you did.
So is the problem then that she stated her intention and did something different? Like, because that
absolutely.
So if she's killing him isn't the problem.
Well, if she doesn't say anything, then we all reasonably, I think, can assume that a car can be a deadly tool, right? So
you can get charged with
why is it okay in one scenario but not the other? Why is killing him okay in one scenario but not the other?
In no scenario is it okay to kill anybody.
Oh, so it doesn't matter if she yelled taser. She's culpable either way.
Don't straw man. It's never okay to kill anybody. That's not what anybody here is saying.
Okay, so my final question on this. My final question on this subject, because we are so big, obviously, we're predominantly back the blue group, police, respect. So here's the other question, because now we're on the gray area of fucking just listen to the cop. Why do you have to get back in your car? And again, she made drastic mistakes, but he's made mistakes in his life that we that he's and you said it right. He's the victim, so we have to be careful what we're saying. But he did not comply in an instance where he has been a dangerous offender before. He's known to have violent weapons. He's known to be violent. It does provide a tough backdrop.
Violent weapons?
I'm sorry. Provide weapons. Sorry.
Is there anything other than?
Well, I was waiting for him to say.
So, anyways, no. So, in all reality, then the question is, where it becomes a moral dilemma in my book, because again, you put a cop in a really difficult position. This cop is going to pay for it, one way or another. Even if she does get off, which I don't think she fully will. You're having a cop pay for something because some dumbass criminal made a stupid fucking decision to try to fight the police and get back in the car. So. It's such a gray area, and I don't know where to do it. Yeah, there needs to be accountability, but at the same time, God damn it, stop breaking the fucking law. Like, stop doing this shit.
For me, this is a beautiful example of where our justice system can actually shine. Now, I think a jury of peers is such an important thing in this instance, because it's kind of we are having the discussion that I assume that they are probably having behind closed doors. Okay, this is a person. They made a mistake. But that mistake cost somebody their life. What is that life worth? And do we penalize the individual rather than the entire police force because of this action? It's a valid question, and this is where the justice system should prevail. If she gets no charges, it's because the evidence to the people that are looking at it was so clear to them that they could have made the same mistake given all training and things included. Or she gets convicted, and that shines too, which is that this person is a person of stature. They're in the community to help police, and they made a mistake that cost somebody their life, and now there's a penalty to pay here. I think this is actually a good system.
So before I let you guys answer, where did he just go? We keep losing. We're dropping like flies. Cheryl said, I agree that this is actually really interesting. How do we fix this problem? How about anytime somebody evades police or does not comply with police, resists arrest? Why don't we make it a bigger offense? That would stop this. I feel like that would be a huge
resisting
step.
arrest.
No.
Why?
Oh my God!
Because that would be infringing upon people's rights. Now, every time an officer is making an arrest, is he justified? Is he justified in doing so? If you're justified,
morally,
okay, you can fight that in court. But if you're not, then I shouldn't be charged for resisting when you are doing something wrong.
Is he more? Its question is he even morally, not legally? I don't care what the law says. Is the person morally justified in that situation? Because the only time God is going to even pretend to look on that with any sort of grace is if he looks at it and says, your taking of that life was the best option in that situation. And the only time that can ever occur, ever, is if you are defending.
Suni. Spell it right if you're going to spell it.
I see.
And I've watched the trial, so opinions aren't less credible just because you don't like them.
But
I've actually watched, and I've watched the least. I really haven't. I've watched a lot of the video footage. I did not watch a lot of the trial. So
let's remember what is the standard. Sorry, Casey, my bad.
No, like here's the thing. Like my part with this is everybody's taking this like, oh, no charges. She should be Joe Biden moment. She should be getting no charges and be let off free. I don't agree that should happen. I do believe she should serve some time. If the judge finds that she's already served enough time, then so be it. But she does need to be held accountable for her mistake. We're not saying she needs to sit behind bars for 110 years. No. But there needs to be some accountability for a mistake. And that is what most people, I believe, up here are saying is there needs to be some accountability. We're not saying that she has to sit life behind bars.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what it is, man. Cops fuck up. They're not above the law. They need to be charged just like we are. And if not, then we need to revisit some laws.
All right.
Why
Kevin has a drinking problem.
All right, let's move on, guys. Let's go. What do we got here? So Kim Potter trial. I think we cover. I mean, we're all very much.
That was fun.
Yeah, different agreement. That was good. All right, let's talk about the vid. We can start with I mean, a couple different things. But I encourage people, based on Casey and Eric sharing this with me earlier, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, Soonie, give a Twitter search to China and the lockdowns, what's going on right now. China is on a full country lockdown, yet they, by the way, have not shown a death from the vid since, I think, May of last year, because obviously the CCP is squashes all that stuff. But right now, if you really pay attention to what's going on in China, it's terrifying. And I don't know why or what's coming, but that's horrific to see what's happening in China based on Twitter. Moving on.
I don't think you're going to like my take on this.
On China? Or on what? on the vid?
China.
Oh, China. The other thing I was going to talk about was Biden's was Biden's speech today, which he did not knock down. Here, he did not bring up travel restrictions like some people said he was. Again, people on the far right need to stop trying to incite hate and all this crazy stuff and all that shit, which we'll get into in a second. But Biden fell apart when he had to answer questions at the end of that interview. It was worse than watching Kamala just then. It was like, because the 50,000 they make and 60, and they need to the 80,000, and then come on, man, like what just happened? Anyways, Soonie, what's your take on China, real quick, before we go to the rest of the crap?
So, it's not America. I feel the same way about Australia.
Yeah,
if that's what they're going through, their country can figure it out.
Oh, I don't really care either. Before we go to Kevin, I agree with you on that sense. I'm saying I was watching in December and January and February of 2019 or 2020, beginning of 2020. I was watching what was going on in China. David Harris, I remember I was looking at videos of his, and I'm like, something really messed up is coming to the United States. And the fact that they have gone full back, I mean, they're over the top right now in the last 24 hours. I'm saying I don't care what happens in China. What I do care about is the fact that could be a preview of what is coming to the United States, and I don't know what is going on there right now.
Well, why do you think that? I'm curious to know why you think that.
Because I saw it in January and February of 2020. I saw that then. We saw people dropping dead on the streets. We saw people being dragged out of their homes. We saw all these different things and these mass death, throwing them in ditches. I was like, I think this is more serious than we think. Meanwhile, at the time, all the leftists are like, "Oh, what's COVID?" And I'm like, something bad is on its way here. Whether it was as bad as they made it look or not, but something came from China, very accurate. We're seeing something weird in the last 24 hours, according to Twitter, happening in China. Don't care what's happening in that country. It's a shit show. But when it comes down to it, could it be a preview of what's coming to here?
So you think it's coming here? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to.
Here, let me explain it this way. Here in the United States, we have never replicated a Chinese lockdown or control scenario to handle a situation, and this is the first time we've done it.
Well, what did we replicate that China did?
They will lock a whole city down. They will do that.
No, that's literally what they're doing now. They locked a city of 13 million down for 7 positive cases, and every single person must. The thing is that China, and the reason why I slightly don't doubt as much as I used to their numbers, China has actually been prescribing ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin P.
Yeah.
So guys,
this is why
I don't know if I agree with you guys on this.
Okay.
I think this is somewhat
Forgot I can't say this.
fear mongering, if I have to be honest. I seen somebody say that in the comment section.
It is.
States can lock down all they want, but Americans do what the fuck they want. So you can say, hey, we're locking down, but Americans, nobody was arrested, except for what's happening in New York lately. My good friend Josephine Valdez was locked up. She's all over Fox News. But to the extent of China happening here, in your fucking dreams, we have what are called weapons. Okay. Try it.
Well, yes, but it doesn't mean our dumbass government won't try it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm going to say it's going to be a fight.
Yes.
I also have this concern, and I will present it this way, which is people have been encroached on for 645 days, right? 15 days to slow. Since then, the amount of rights we've lost, the amount of ability to move freely inside of our country, the freedom of trade in goods, our ability to participate in disciplinary function. It is incredibly more difficult today than it has ever been. And so I don't necessarily agree with you, Soonie. I think that I hope that people are smart enough to never let that happen. But this is little by little, inch by inch. And my fear is that enough people will comply until they realize that they're in that kind of situation. So to say it won't happen, I don't necessarily agree. To say that it would be a kind of a moonshot, if you had asked me a year ago, I probably would, people are never going to behave and welcome that. But we do have an entire group of people who literally are like, if you don't do this thing, you're not allowed in society anymore. So I have the concern that the stupidity of the people may overthrow the will and desire to.
For example, people that don't think that anything wrong is even going on here right now.
We all love you, Jay.
Jayhawk, what rights have we exactly lost? I mean, I think it's a fair question. If we're saying we've lost rights,
you know how many times he's
right
asked
to work,
run it down.
right to travel,
we've addressed his question. But here's
freedom
I
of
don't know.
movement is number one.
Did you see?
I guess I'm very objective in these situations.
You don't think we've lost? You know we've lost rights. I mean, Casey's wife has.
I never said we didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying we didn't. I said his question is fair.
He wants to start trouble. What rights have we lost? No, let's go. I can't even pretend to play devil's advocate.
Okay, let's not worry about it. So first off, Mo, is it working? Check one.
It's working. Yes. Okay. You know what happened? What happened this time is I got a damn alert. Listen, F China, okay? Because this phone is from China and they're messing with me.
China. It's China.
China.
If you please.
Jay, we name it on every episode. We've talked about the inability to work freely, the inability to make choice with our own bodies in terms of the jab. We've talked about it. You're not allowed to go to the gym if you're unjabbed. So maybe you haven't lost rights, but I can tell you my friend in Chicago right now just got a Lori Lightfoot alert saying that she can't go to a gym because that's part of the new rules, which has been happening in New Jersey, New York, etc. You can't go to a restaurant and eat. You can't ride. You can't technically, if you want to get really into it, flying on a plane with a face diaper on is infringing on rights.
Jay, that's not private companies making the decision. It's the government forcing the companies to do that. That is where rights are changing.
So I'll be objective here.
But you know what? If people stood up,
Thank you, Mo. We're going exactly where I was going.
People stood up and did something about this, and I'm not talking about onesie twosie. I'm talking about the whole damn state says we're showing up to wherever the hell we want to show up to, and you do something about it. Let me see if you try.
Real quick, I need to interject this. How many patents do you guys think that Anthony Fauci's NIAID has on vaccines? Our government. Who do you think
they gotta do it right?
No, who do you think has Moderna's? No, because we're talking private companies, all this stuff. No, the government. Yeah,
2015, the NIAID and the NIH were partnered on the V. Yes.
The Moderna is specifically owned by Anthony Fauci.
This is actually a true story.
He owns that. If you think this has anything to do with anything other than control, anything other than power.
Elisa Torres just asked if going to a gym is a right or a privilege. If you live in the United States of America, and I know you do because I think we used to live in the same building, you're going to question that if going to a gym, this is not a private company making a decision. This is the government saying you cannot go. This is Lori Lightfoot, for example, in Chicago, saying you cannot go to a gym. Your gym is so a private business is being told what to do by the federal government, and the people going into it cannot go to a place to work out. We weren't allowed to go to religious. These are decisions by a government. This is private. And you're saying that going to a gym is a privilege? Come on, man.
But you know what? But you know what else is how many people actually know that Pfizer, Moderna, Congress, CDC, FDA are all exempt from getting this? Correct. How many people actually know that? How many people are going to listen to that and go, why are we getting forced if they're all exempt? How much sense
as well as illegal immigrants at this point? right?
Exactly.
So to the point, Mo, and one thing that came up this week that I thought was really interesting, right? As citizens, we don't have the right to sue anybody for this, no matter what damages come from it, right? But illegal immigrants have now been exempted because they do, and that blows my mind. So we have to be super pragmatic, in my opinion, when we address this issue, in the sense of like, if they're going to exempt everybody but the American people, what is the purpose of perpetrating? Like, and I'll use the word perpetrating because at some point we have to be concerned when they're saying you can't go out to eat, and like all the time we're having this conversation about, well, what can I not do today because I don't have this thing? I have durable immunity now. I just got over this crap. I'm going to have antibodies at least for the foreseeable future.
They don't know when they
coming out all the time and showing new information.
Again, they literally do not have a proven second case in anybody.
So Kevin, I was gonna kind of bring this up, which is I just had an antibody treatment. No doctor in there has seen a second case. Not
CDC
one.
couldn't provide one.
So can I skip over to the Peter McCullough thing on that one, because I think he had some, because I know that's kind of where a lot of this information is coming from. I think that showing it.
Yeah, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. So just to have closing remarks on this, all this stuff is completely contingent upon us following it, and we have to stop absolving Americans of so much responsibility. You've allowed it.
Yep.
You have allowed it, because getting on TV and saying words, you can't go do this, you can't do that, you need a vaccine passport, or you want to bet? You want to bet? Why were they able to pull this off here? This is in 1918, bro. They saw that their government officials weren't doing something. You know what they did? How about this? This is done today.
Well, we were tough
and
on
people
that.
actually stood up.
Did we see the turning point stuff that happened here recently? I think it was yesterday with Jesse Waters.
It's this last week with AmFest and everything going on.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll just say this: he's right. We need to get into the same mode that we. So, like, Soonie, you talk about this a lot, about the culture war that we're in right now, right? Yeah. And one of the things that we are losing at is being able to push back, right? And so that's why we do this show. That's why we participate in these forums and these panels, and we do everything we can to get a message out. I don't know that it's time to go create conflict, but if somebody asks you for medical information, tell them to get out of here. Like, literally,
none of your damn business.
Answering the question.
Why isn't it my business? If I get sick, why isn't it my business?
So let me circle back to this to finish.
Stay
this
home.
Comment. So Jay, you may live in an area where they don't require it. But again, I'm with you guys. I agree. Stop saying what it is. But if there is a place that requires a V card in a city that is doing it because they're following and complying with the state government, the city government, etc., yes, it's not happening all over the country. And
Go somewhere else.
Here's the key on what we're all talking about. Here's the key on what we're all talking about. We are literally speaking right now. I live in the middle of Texas, like an area. I live in Stephenville, Fort Worth area where nobody gives a baker's F. It doesn't directly affect me right now, but it could. And it does affect people in Chicago. So, Jay, it may not affect your local gym, but it does affect those in New York, New Jersey, Chicago, LA that believe in medical freedom. So until it comes to my doorstep, I'm not going to wait to talk about it. I'm not going to wait to fight about it.
Let's all just acknowledge one thing together that I think we can all agree on. We all truly value the minority above all things, with the ultimate minority being the individual.
Interesting.
If I'm for minorities' rights, I'm for the ultimate minorities' rights, the individual. Individual violation of rights is wrong.
That was some stoned logic right there. Just kidding. All right. To go back to what I was saying about Peter McCullough, because I think it's important. So Barbara said you got it 3 times. So here's what Peter McCullough talked about, and I think this was a big flaw in it, is he talks about you can't get it twice. CDC cannot prove a second case. The problem is in the end of his 3 hours with Joe Rogan, he talks about the fact that he never truly answered what about the people that feel like they got it twice. He talked about how if they didn't get 15% sick, then there might not be antibodies that showed up, which means they still had the vid, but they can't get it twice. It's very confusing, and it got very muddied at the end of it. So ultimately, what people are now saying when they look at these numbers is you did not get the vid 3 times. You got a really bad flu, you got or a really bad cold, and they're saying that you can't get it 3 times more than once. Now, that's the one bit of that show that I could not fully get down with because I don't think he did a great job proving his case. Go ahead, Eric.
So one of the things he specifies, and this is very important, if everybody will remember back to last year, there was a huge uproar about the tests being wildly inaccurate.
Right.
What Peter McCullough talks about specifically in this, and this is what he addresses, and I don't know that he didn't catch it, because what he basically says is that there is a time and a place at which these tests cannot differentiate between influenza and the C, right? So what we have is people who have symptoms that are so, like, these things are so similar in the nature in which way your body deals with them, and we have a test that does not clearly define between the two. It just shows the presence of an antigen.
And so PCR was even worse.
Right? So the question was answered. I want to differentiate, because what they were saying is we have not seen a reinfection. That does not mean that you will not pop up on a test for having the antigen, because your body is currently in the mode to fight, and it may present it. And there is that problem with our testing, and that has been consistent since day one. And they have not fixed it, and they have not gone back and rectified the numbers on these things. So the supportive evidence that he speaks of that I thought was important is that there is an issue with the test itself that cannot differentiate between this and that.
Let me put it this way. When I say you can't get reinfected, they say that we've had hundreds of millions get infected. They say that, all of this stuff. But when it comes down to it, why are they able to also say somehow the vaccine, natural immunity has this percent efficacy, this percent efficacy, this percent efficacy, and it's always less than 90%. I guarantee you 10% of people who have had it have not gotten it again. And it's when those things present themselves that clearly it's lies that are being spewed about this stuff.
Let's get into a little bit about the V. So we're looking at, you heard Biden ramble on today. Again, if you want to have a good time, play a drinking game and watch a press conference with Bitey Pants, and every time he says the V, take just a sip of beer. You will be shit canned in 30 minutes. With that said, he talked a lot about the V. He even said at one point, because he's talking about this is the solution. This has got to be the solution. And we'll go back to talking about how every major thing that's right now being shut down is the most V populations, NFL and New York City, SNL, all that. But he talked about, well, finally, Trump and I agree on something. And he talked about Trump's speech where he was in Dallas, Texas with Bill O'Reilly, which he got booed, by the way, where he said, I just got my booster. And he said, even Trump agrees with me. The jab is the way to go. Soonie, you had on a show a couple weeks ago, you talked about, you said, somebody asked you, would you vote for Trump again? So I got to ask, I think we all think Trump's a shithead in terms of how he's staying so true to the V. I could be wrong. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this?
No, he will not get my vote. And a matter of fact, I hope he doesn't run in 2024, because he's lying no different than the Democrats are. Every time you hear Trump talk about this vaccine, it saved tens of millions of lives, and it was me that did this. I was the guy to get the FDA to override on making sure this was okay. And we were all okay with Trump doing it. Trump wanted to completely bypass the FDA. And then once Biden got in office, we were like, well, it's not FDA approved. I don't do the back and forth. I feel like he's controlled opposition. He just did another speech where he says that we should take pride in the vaccine and we should take credit for it because it's saving lives. And it's like, yo, you're full of shit. Stop lying. Stop getting on TV acting like the jab salesman in saying all this stuff, and it's not true. I don't trust Trump. He is a big pharma puppet at this point. We all seen the exorbitant amount of money he got from big pharma. So it's F Trump 2024.
Before we move on, I actually didn't articulate myself well in this. So my husband had it twice after the first time, had antibodies. That was my other thing with McCullough, is he didn't properly explain, because he just said the tests are bad. So what are people getting the second time? There was just a lot of flaws in that statement, and he didn't quite have answers for. Sorry. So now I'm gonna do this towards Mo or towards Soonie, because I know that, and I agree. Like, I don't think there's a more anti-V person on this. I've been talking about this since day one. My mom's been talking this for 20 years, talking about this was the plan. And I'm like, Mom, you're crazy. And now I'm like, shit, she was right. So now my question becomes with Trump. So Trump, to me, he's all about the number. Like, he is a master with numbers. I think it's unfortunate that he lost the last election. I don't know if he did. I mean, he did technically. He's not a president right now. But is he looking at the numbers and going, this is something that will help, that will not affect me too much on my base. It could get me some Democrats in 2024 and could get some middle grounders to go my way. Has he done research on numbers to say this is the path he has to take? That's my, and honestly, I think it's bullshit. I don't want that. But what do you think?
He couldn't be possibly looking at the numbers, because I'm looking at the numbers on the CDC website. And it says here that in the last 30 days, we've had 805,000 COVID-related deaths. 77% of those were people with at least one vaccination. Okay, so if you're looking at the numbers, that's an inaccurate statement. I really wish that when he was asked the question on whether he got the vaccine, that he went more of the route of saying, you know what, that's my personal medical information. I think people have the right to choose whatever they want to get. I don't have a problem that he himself wants to get the vaccine, because at the end of the day, what I want is freedom to choose what I want to do. I don't care what other people want to do. Okay. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's a politician. He's a businessman. I'm sure he's making some type of money off of this out of the Operation Warp Speed or whatever it is. I don't know if he holds any stock in any of these other companies, but he also said in an interview with Maria Bartoloma that he said, hey, you know what? They realized that after the first vaccine that came out, that this was going to be a money grab. So they decided, let's just keep making money off these boosters. And that's exactly what's happening. So I don't like that he's pushing. He's leaning to one side too much for me. Now, would I vote for Trump again? It really depends, right? I don't want him to run. I really don't. I think he needs to stay out of it. I think he needs to back a more qualified candidate. However, if our choices are slim and he's in it, I may have to choose him. You know, so I don't know.
I'm going to say something that we'll hopefully cover it later. I hope people don't get mad on this one. My picks, and this is going to be a first ever, would be a cross ticket. Tulsi Gabbard for VP and Rand Paul for president. I'm not a repeal the 19th kind of guy. I love I love
hell to the no.
I know you guys aren't gonna like that, but fact is, I love Tulsi Gabbard in that position, because I don't know. That's just my
I think this is interesting. Ever.
Thank you.
I knew y'all were gonna say it. I like Tulsi Gabbard. Anyways, hold on.
I think this is interesting. Can I just really quickly? This is something that I talked to you about with an independent voter, okay? And they were very interested and intrigued in an idea, and they were using like Andrew Yang and Dan Crenshaw as the example that they gave, right? And the idea was to run basically on an 8-year term and say, look, here's the deal, guys. We're going to come in. This is the ticket. This is how it looks today. And in 4 years, we're going to flip-flop positions and we're going to rerun it again. I think there is some logic to it that makes sense for the middle of the country, right? Like, a lot of people want to see this division go away. And if you could get a Democrat and a Republican together on a ticket, and they make the promise to the American people that, hey, this is an 8-year gig, and we're going to basically flip-flop position here, or co-opt the ticket here. It's an interesting philosophy. I don't think it works in pragmatic terms. I think Tulsi has some issues. She is, but a more pragmatic version of what is a classic Democrat. So I can't knock the idea.
You guys,
Soonie, hold on really quick. Soonie, Candace is your girl, but she's
I don't
a girl.
care. I love Candace,
Nope.
but she's a woman. She's got a vag.
Nope.
She thinks just like I do.
Logical consistency, I appreciate.
All right, I do. I like
Yeah.
consistency. Casey, go ahead.
I just wanted to tell you to come back to reality and try to actually have figure out real candidates to run. We got to get rid of any politician that's been in office for more than 4 years. They all got to go.
But I like.
It's going to be Ron DeSantis and Rand Paul because Rand Paul attacked Fauci, and so
Rand Paul does too much of this.
I don't. I'm not telling you what I want. What I want is a Dave Smith presidency. Okay, Smith
I
Bell
want
is
Jesus
21.
as president, bro. Jesus just needs to come
24.
back and fix all this. That's who I
then.
want.
So, Soonie, what did you have up? Sorry, I took it down while she was talking. What's up?
No, you're good. I'm just I'm just showing Trump's verbal diarrhea of just total hogwash and bullshit. And I'm sick of nobody calling him out. I'm tired of Trump supporters. Well, he didn't say he wanted it mandated, but you know what he did? Hey, don't go get the shot and it's your choice, but go get the shot. Hey, I got the booster. Go get the booster too. Guys, we should take credit for it. It saved millions of lives, but I don't believe in it being mandated. That's great, sir, but you're still encouraging people to go do it.
Yeah.
But he's doing that to appease those voters. You know what I mean? Like my parents are those people, right? They voted for Trump. They went and got the vaccine. They believe in that stuff. So he's got to play that game. So it's like what he's doing with the whole log cabin group, right? He's got to play. But you know what? I think there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it where you don't have to stand on a side.
I agree. And I think it's just one of those ones like, does he have the, test groups? Is he is he polling numbers? I said that in the beginning. It's like, is this a math reason? But I don't give a shit because I'm going to stand
Trump's
on my
not that smart.
Trump doesn't know enough about the V's in order to know that what he's saying is stupid.
I don't think he cares about the science. He cares about the money and he cares about
Trump is responsible for it. So I'm the greatest thing ever.
Which is why somebody can be smart but have no intellect. I don't believe he has any intellect at all. I think there's people around him that help him, but he's not. He's an idiot. And I love Trump.
He's got a 100 plus 20 dice roll on charisma. Okay, like this dude is charismatic as all fucking hell.
I mean, I will say, like, seeing him speak at a rally is still one of the greatest things you'll see.
Intelligence presents itself in different ways. Do I think LeBron James is book smart or idea smart? No. Basketball smart? I think he's got an IQ greater than Einstein's in basketball. Sure. Okay,
that's not intelligence.
Right.
That's
an intelligence that has made him worth over $1 billion. So I think it has some kind of value. But is it the intelligence that he should have if he wants to start speaking out?
We're talking about intellectuals that are going to be helping a country progress, not dribble a ball and figure out which measurements to do.
Dribble a ball for $1 billion.
I played ball most of my life. Okay?
You didn't get $1 billion for it.
I don't want $1 billion for
star
it.
Will. The WNBA can't even get
he's
10
a China
million,
pawn, bro.
Right.
He's not just making money because he's a great athlete. He's got deals.
Honestly, guys, if he would have stuck to the America First platform that he ran on, we'd be all good. But now he's like one of those people that's trying to be nice to everybody, and that's really going to piss off his strong voter base, to tell you the truth. That's what
he turned into a politician.
He had the opportunity to get rid of frickin' Fauci, the single greatest.
Yeah, and he didn't do it.
The single most powerful bureaut ever.
Controlled opposition.
He will get rid of anybody else, but he will not get rid of the longest tenured government employee and the highest paid government employee.
I'm gonna clean the swamp, but I'm gonna ignore the biggest alligator in it.
Yep.
Including the guy that once said that you can get, HIV from being next to somebody.
And it's not like he contributed to the absolute. It's not like he contributed to Magic Johnson's first fucking retirement. I will never forgive that.
Russo,
what?
Russo, we have to bring Justin Wilson on the show.
Oh
Justin.
my gosh, Soonie, what are you doing?
He needs to talk.
If Mo's saying that, I don't know.
Is this a bad thing or a good thing? Who the hell is that?
Oh God,
he's not a bad guy, but Justin will just rock your world. I don't know if y'all are ready for that. I don't know if you're ready for that.
There's a guy
I pay good money for that.
what's the guy's name? I'm gonna have a guy coming on. He's actually got a pretty big following on TikTok, and he is a Professor Murphy, I believe. Brilliant videos. He's gonna be on the show pretty soon.
So, what was your complaint about the Peter McCullough thing?
With him?
What's that, Soonie?
Can I get on just to disagree with him?
Oh no, you'll like Professor Murphy. He talks about CRT.
Darn it!
No,
I want somebody I don't like.
He's good.
While we're kind of still talking about 19 here, can we talk about the mandate for a minute here, and what's going on inside the court system with that?
What mandate? The mandates where we all get fucked in the ass afterwards?
No, he's talking about. So that's a question I have, and I can't find the information. The only thing, so he's talking about how the sixth court that slammed the OSHA, that got rid of the OSHA mandate, said we're putting it on pause. All of a sudden, miraculously lifted it. I don't know who got what, but anyways, miraculously lifted it. That does not mean that the mandate is back. It just means that it's in a holding pattern. From that point, all I've heard is little bits and pieces that Kavanaugh and the Supreme Court is going to butt against it. We already know Amy Coney Barrett is pro-mandate, which is terrifying. Whoops, Trump. On that one.
Control opposition.
Yeah. So the question is, what does it all mean? Can anybody best break it down? Because I can't.
Well, so one of the things
repeal the 19. It's like, no, let me stop.
One of the things I think is incredibly important is to know exactly how the court system in our country works, because I think people get convoluted in their thought process. And, well, the president said so, and the Congress agrees. And remember, these are balanced powers, right? And one of the things that's happening here is the court system is functioning. And unfortunately, it's not what we want right now. The appellate court decided to shoot down the hold on the mandate, right? Now, this will still continue to tick up the line, but this is one judge who came in and said, stop everything right now. That decision was immediately appealed. Now it's a three-judge panel, and the three-judge panel has said, we can't stand in the way, essentially. And from here, Kevin, you might be able to help with me a little bit this too, which is, from here, it will go to, I believe, a 9 or a 13 judge panel.
9.
And they will make a decision. And if it still is challenged, it will end up ultimately in the Supreme Court in front of our justices. So there is so much to happen here still. But it's really important to know that one judge is one put the stay in, 3 judges ruled against the appeal. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. So if it's on the state side, it'll go from district court to appellate court to state Supreme Court to Supreme Court. So I don't know necessarily how many are in that area, but if it's on the federal side, which I believe it's on the federal side, it literally goes from trial to appellate to Supreme. So the next step is literally Supreme Court after the appellate court. But
they have until the 30th to respond to Kavanaugh's request to give more detail. And Russo to talk about the businesses. That's what I just found. They are not penalizing any businesses until January 10th, which by then we will probably already see it in the Supreme Court, and they will put a stay on it until a decision, most likely.
Unfortunately, I go ahead, Mo, right after this. I already had a friend that their business was holding out, and then they blocked the mandate on the Sixth Circuit Court. And then just immediately after, they ended up putting the mandate in place for that business right when it got lifted, because, again, people don't understand that they have a chance to wait and go on. But anyways, Mo, go ahead.
Well, I just had a question. So while this is all going on, can individual states and individual businesses still mandate this stuff? It really doesn't do anything in the now, right?
It depends on your state, because here in Utah, we just passed a law, SB 2004. Unless you are a government contractor, no, it cannot be mandated.
I'm looking at law school in Utah right now, and it's sounding better and better every day.
No, we can't deal with your attitude over here.
So, Mo, to answer your question, it depends very, very much on the state. So most states right now are still on the path. If a private business wants to mandate it, they can. But certain states, Utah, I believe is Texas, Florida, definitely, a business cannot mandate their employees, which goes directly against the mandates. It goes directly against federal. So it does become a state's law situation. But for the most part, it really just does depend on the state.
Gotcha.
And a business can do it
anywhere. I only wanted to bring that up because people are slightly confused at what this means. All that the appellate court said is that we do not have the right to force OSHA to not
Right.
look into this. So it's about work conditions, and OSHA is a
They can't enforce it.
non-governmental arm that is in all private businesses. So I just wanted to have people understand that, because I think people think it's been overturned. It has not been overturned,
Right.
and nothing is different today than it was a few weeks ago. This mandate, again, is not law. It is just a part of a process to get to a point where they decide whether this is legal or illegal.
Yeah.
So what does that mean though for like places that put this date in place, right? For people to either get an exemption or get the vaccine, and those people left their job going, okay, well, I'm not going to get either, but I'm not
Hopefully
getting the
it means we
vaccine.
can sue the hell out of people.
I was about to say, like, does that leave that open for people to start like preparing lawsuits
Down the road.
against these employers?
Yeah, and
Not
go
yet.
ahead, Casey.
I
Go
think
ahead.
those will be very tough battles to win, because it is a private
take a
company,
lot of money.
and they can really battle that, and usually win. It's going to have to somehow end up in some civil action to where you class action. I mean, but
Right.
and you bring a whole bunch of people together. But
Can
I think that's a
And-
stretch.
fun fact,
Furthermore,
what's happening?
at this point, everybody has done this voluntarily. So
Right.
I'm unaware of a single you're fired because you did not. So again, this is where some of this non-compliance and saying, if you want to know my vaccine status, guess what? You're gonna have to call my doctor, and they're not gonna give it to you.
Right. All right. So we got about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure we get to implants, and then in kind of the mandates, and then COVID shutting things down in the VED community. So this herd immunity comment it's an honest question, because all Biden talked about today was it's the weirdest thing to hear somebody go, we've got a new variant. Pretty much everybody with that variant has the V. My guidance is to get the V. It makes zero sense. So COVID is shut down right now. 3 NFL games were postponed. New York City is completely not doing shows. Saturday Night Live ended up having to move their season finale, which the whole cast, the crew, everybody is V'd. Doesn't make any sense. And then you've got the best, one of my favorites for the NBA is they had Kyrie come back on road games because they were short players from injuries and the V. Fun fact, on a bigger scale, and people that mean a lot more because they're normal Americans, not that Kyrie doesn't mean a lot. So I got news that one of the major medical groups in the country that had to fire VED workers because they are so understaffed are bringing many of them back to fill positions right now. The ones that held their ground, it rhymes with Manchin. Healthcare in the Midwest, they're bringing people back. So I think it's ironic that all of a sudden they're bringing back unV'd, yet the guidance is still, dark winter, dark death. You're all going to die if you're not V'd. According to the White House, according to Biden's speech, NCAA almost fully V'd in the collegiate level, which again, pointless. And then you've got Elizabeth Warren and Brooks with Cory Booker, both boosted. And they're all. I mean, how can we be saying that this is a pandemic of the unV'd still? How can any intelligent person have that conversation?
I have no clue. I really have no clue. I hope that these people that are being brought back and being begged to come back to their job, even though they're not vaccinated, are asking for money or telling them to go F themselves. Because you are stupid if you got fired for not being vaccinated and then your employer calls you back and says, can you please come back? We don't have enough people because everybody's dropping dead of COVID or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then the excuse that people are giving for Cory and Pocahontas, getting COVID again is, oh, well, they never said that you were never going to get COVID again. It was just going to lessen the symptoms. I'm sorry. But if you're getting all the shots and all the boosters and you're still getting COVID, hello.
And it's that they love this word breakthrough. They're like, breakthrough makes it sound so rare. It's not rare. Like it is so far from rare. It's absolutely absurd that they're considering this a once in a while. Oh God, here comes Jay. What do we got here?
Right.
It's like wearing a seatbelt. It's not guaranteed. Okay, so he said something earlier. If you watch Biden's speech today, he essentially, that was misinformation. He's lying to the fat people, old people, out of shape people, all these things. He's lying to them. He's saying, if you get V'd, the chances of you ending up in the hospital or dead are very slim. Very untrue.
No.
If you have comorbidities and if you are out of shape, because again, he's never going to mention anything about natural health, you actually still have a not a very good chance. It's still a few percentage points, but you have a better chance than an unV'd healthy person. Has anybody ever actually ran those numbers?
Let me put it this way. In the Pfizer, I'll call it, trials, 1 in 22,000 unV'd versus 2 in 22,000 V'd died.
Right.
That is the basis by which they say it had 100% efficacy when it first debuted on the market. There is no validity to any of this. Once you look into any of the studies that have been produced about any of these things, it crumbles. The problem that they're going to run into is that within the next couple of years, they can continue to say the V is the way out of this, but it's really easy. When it first came out, you as a liberal V person could sit there. None of my friends have got it. 6 months in, some of my friends have got it. A year, quite a few friends of mine have got it. 18 months, I've got it. 2 years, everybody I know have had it. We've all had this thing. They lied to us. That no longer gets hidden.
Soonie, go ahead.
I have a question. If we don't get to find out until 55 years later what the hell this vaccine actually does, how the fuck do they know?
Everyone will be dead. Who cares? So
it's saving lives. How do you know? Because I know.
I have a follow-up
today
question,
and they were like, they literally looked me in the eye and they're like, "Well, everybody at that point will be dead." So what is it? What and it's valid though. Like, why do they get 55 years to produce evidence this thing didn't work?
This was right about the same part in the McCullough interview where he talked about the 50 years, and then he talked about
75. Yeah.
Well, it was 1970 or 2076 that this is coming out, talking about the fact that technically this is not FDA approved. We said this in the beginning.
Still on the EUA.
Because the one that is being used, what is it, BioNTech or whatever, is being used in another country, but the one that we're using in the United States is still an EUA. How can they continue to lie to us, or am I misunderstanding the information? Can somebody help me with this? Because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to have misinformation, but everything that I'm seeing and what Dr. McCullough said and a lot of other people who are quote unquote conspiracy theorists, which will end with the implant conversation right after this. Is it EUA or is it FDA approved? We don't know. None of us know.
Nobody knows.
Part of my understanding around this is that the FDA, NIH, CDC are essentially part owners of this, and there has never been a private government entity of this nature.
Fascist.
There is no
looking for.
What?
Fascist. That's what the word is.
Well, so that is right. So this is kind of what it touches on this really gray space. This is not it does not have full approval, and particularly these the turbo shot, right? These are not part of the umbrella that is currently protected as the 2-shot deal right now. So it is completely gray area. This has never happened before. I don't know that. I think moving forward, we'll see it happen a lot more. But there is an EUA that allows this to continue to be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. As far as I understand, the initial 2, though, are still not fully approved across the board.
That's what I thought.
I thought they just had emergency approval.
Oh, I agree with Jay. I don't know. I said in the very beginning, let's not talk about the FDA because it's going to be approved anyway. So I don't care about the FDA approval. I'm questioning just messaging because every bit of messaging we get is absolute hot, dirty, steaming garbage. Meanwhile, Soonie is planning on robbing a bank.
All right.
Hey, listen, I hear California is a pretty cool place to be right now if you want to get some free stuff.
All right,
is it because I'm black and I got a mask on?
I said aloha.
I said you were robbing a bank, not a liquor store.
Because I'm black? It's like, no. So the FDA has lost all their credibility, right? Because they say that cigarettes are okay to smoke, but I can't even go get my weed whenever or wherever I want. That's weird. Why anybody listens to the FDA anymore is just beyond me.
Well, this is
right.
This is actually something that thank you for bringing this up, because I'm going to jump on this. Casey knows this. Anthony knows this. Pfizer just bought a company out of Berkeley,
That's
California
right.
that has, right? So cannabis is patented by the United States government.
Oh yeah,
The same way, the same exact way that this jab is.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I'm not joking. Like, that is a dead serious, like, this thing and that thing are held in the same standard of gray area.
They're gonna legalize it,
no
and they're gonna
understanding
put
for most people.
all sorts of shit in it that makes people sick because folks enjoy smoking certain types of strands. They're gonna legalize it, but it's gonna be done federally.
Let's not get too much.
Always the homegrown shit, that garage hydroponic shit.
You are definitely high out of your fucking
high
mind.
as shit tonight.
Thing, like, they're gonna try to legalize it and get rid of it, but they're not gonna be able to. That is the ultimate move to get the left against them again.
I'm impressed that Kevin can still rattle off facts and shit when he is that high. Like, it's fucking impressive.
I'm not high.
Oh, just drunk?
Yes, you are. Your eyes are red as shit.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Do you think this is water?
Oh my God, he looks like he lives right next to Soonie.
You know what's crazy? Okay, so that acquisition with Pfizer, I'm reading here, for the medical cannabis industry was a $6.7 billion acquisition. Okay, on top of that, Moderna also acquired Arena Pharmaceuticals, okay, which they make one of the biggest medications for coronary heart disease, right? And I'm thinking in my head, oh, I see what's going on here. All the issues from getting this vaccine are going to start coming down the pipeline, and they're going to be like, here's your options.
Here's the fix.
Weed or this great drug from Arena.
And the level of myocarditis.
Marinol's existed for years.
Because the myocarditis stuff, when you're talking about the heart issues, is mind-boggling to me that they're finding a way to say it's unrelated when it has gone up 5 times. 5 times. This isn't like, well, we can't.
And the CDC reported this.
It's reported, but they're saying there's no way to tie it to the V. Well, what's different between last year and this year? Anyways, all right, so this is it right here, because we're going to talk about something we were not allowed to talk about 6 months ago because it was conspiracy theory. They are now doing COVID implants. Where was that video? Let's play that video real quick.
I got it right here.
There you go. Let's play it.
Teed up.
Pause it real quick, Soonie.
That's not scary.
I know. So just because I know there's a video from another thing. So part of it is, look, that is showing that you can be denied access without your microchip.
Exactly.
Go ahead. Keep playing.
Wow.
Stockholm syndrome.
Implants are a very versatile technology that can be used for many different things. And right now, it's very convenient to have a COVID passport always accessible on your implant.
Hackers, get ready. Okay, people are going to be hacking your health, stopping your heart. It's messed up, but you got to laugh at it. I got a dark sense of humor. Imagine all the hacking that's going to be going on in the next 70 to 80 years, yo.
They'll be able to market what kind of porn you watch, because they'll be like, oh, he jerked it to this. I feel his arm moving. Yeah, it's awkward. Anyways, keep going. I don't know why I trust Elon Musk. It's weird.
I fucking hate him.
Completely reversible. All right, go ahead. I think that's the end of it. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah. Is it the end?
It's not, but the rest of it is unnecessary information.
So, all right. So here's my question, and this is what makes it interesting, is all this is they're showing how it works with the phone. Why? That's funny. Why can't you just use a phone?
Who's to say they're not already using the phone?
No, I mean, well, they already are in Canada. In Canada, it's required by a lot of countries. So why the microchip? Why can't you just do it on the phone?
Because they want to integrate AI and human to push the transhumanism movement.
If that is such a sinister. That is such a next level because all of this can be done on a phone. You can make sure you can check identity with a lot of different levels. This is taking it to a level that is unnecessary and fucked up. Go ahead, Stoney Smurf. You're Stoney Smurf, Kevin. Oh,
he's muted. Praise the Lord. Casey, we got to hear you talk.
Casey, go ahead.
No, so I get what you guys are saying. Yes, I am not for the chips and stuff, but you also got to remember this chip is just leading up to something like what you guys are talking about. There's no way this chip that they've made is going to manipulate your body in any way, but it could in the future of more development, and it's leading to that because this chip is technically the same badge that I have to get in my office building, an RFID chip that also communicates on the NFC frequencies.
Right.
So none of that is crazy. Right.
Do we really know what's in it? Just
Do
because they're saying that it's just basic NFC. Who's to say? I mean, it's
as soon as you can get one, you can look at the chips that are on it and you can figure it out. Yeah.
Well, somebody's got to look at it. But the V, you got the V that uses nanotechnology, no matter how you want to talk about it. And supposedly the mRNA is cleared from your system in 2 months. Cool, whatever they want to say. So if you've got a microchip that works with NFC, that means it can communicate on a cellular level. It's a little. I don't want to go too deep.
Can I just tell how much? Jay, you're an idiot. Okay, it's called a stepping stone. It's called ABC 1, 2, 3. This is how we get to artificial intelligence mixing with humans, which is why they're starting with small things like this. Hey, let's put a chip in your arm so that we can identify your vaccination status, maybe your health records.
But this is not even the start, Soonie. We're already so far down the line as we were talking about earlier. Okay, all these people that are just going along with the mask. That was the test. Let's see how far we can take them with this. Now let's start with the vaccine. Then let's put a chip on your credit card. Then let's just make it so that all you have to do is wave your phone in front of the the ATM and it deposits cash. You know, like we are so far into this. Like people are like, oh my gosh, this is the start of something. This is where I draw the line, right? It's too late. It's too late. Do you guys remember when COVID first came out? They had that app on the phone where you could, it was like a COVID tracker, right? So you could see who had COVID next to you, right? If they also had the app. That was the beginning of this. Facts. And they know that people are going to buy this shit. It doesn't even matter what we say, because from what I see all over the world, this is already a done deal. This is already a done deal.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to buy it. You have countries mandating it. So
so Jason at the radio station, he's a station manager. Him and I used to get in arguments. I was like, dude, Jason, we have phones. They don't need to do this. The only argument he could make against me that I now think is plausible is
that's ironic.
If I wanted to disappear, I just have to chuck my phone.
No. Valid.
Like
you chopped up a little
with
bit,
the chip. I am always.
What you're saying is with the phone, if you want to go dark, you just chuck your phone. Whereas you can't chuck your arm. I get it. Okay, so I mean,
no, exactly.
Yeah, and we have to start thinking that way, Jay. I understand that the thing that's key, and kind of like what Mo just said, 6 months ago, if we would have said that, you would have said even in the sense that they're using it. You would have said you're a conspiracy theorist, you're nuts, you need to stop talking about it. You probably wouldn't have even heard it from us because it would have been banned and it would have been video as misinformation. It's true. So anyways, let's wrap it up in the next minute or two.
Just because they said it, Jay, doesn't make it true, okay? They said vaccines save fucking lives, okay?
And you know what? All that has to happen is Cardi B is going to get one. She's going to tweet about it.
There's some hoes in this house.
She's going to get it in her ass cheek and she's going to take it.
Jay, just remember 14 days to slow the curve.
7 days a week. Certified jab.
Yeah.
Make that jab pull-out game week. Anyways.
No, he's
jab pull-out game.
He's just a troll. Like
Jay's an idiot.
Sometimes he provides interesting.
Tell me something I don't know.
At
He's
least
just
he's somebody
trolling.
that counters us. I mean, he doesn't counter it
Yeah,
well.
you should bring him on the show. Who is that, or is he afraid?
Offered religious.
Jay, so hold on. Jay, you're a troll. You're clearly a troll. You're clearly trying to troll. But I legitimately think the reason why you're trolling is because you're on the left and you genuinely think your ideas are better than ours. I would love to defend the actual ideas you have rather than the trolls that you present to us.
I would love.
Jay's always talk to them nice.
Jay's always been invited. I would love to have Jay on the show, but I know we know how that's going to end up.
He doesn't mean half of this shit he says. He just knows it's going to get a rise.
Well, easy. Go ahead, and then we're going to wrap it up.
I just wanted to point out, one of the things that I think people should look for, right? I'm just tossing this out there. Tinfoil hat is fully on right now. Look at the movies that we've been watching for the last 30 years.
Exactly.
This kind of stuff is presented to you as normal. They put a crisis situation in. Somebody's digging something out of their arm to try and not be tracked by a drone.
Manchurian Candidate.
Right. There is an element of social conditioning that happens through film, through movie, through our different outlets of media. And that doesn't mean that everything is sinister, but it does mean that there is a level of attention and things that are put in front of you so that you don't necessarily question these things. And to Anthony's point, had we said this 6 months ago, this would have been a strike. We'd have been out. It'd have been game over. We need to look at the media we're consuming today in order to, in my opinion, understand what some of these philosophical ideologies today are going to lead to tomorrow. I don't have the same opinion necessarily about the direction that Elon's taking things. I think his intention is to get in the middle of this and stop it, but that's one interpretation.
I'm not letting you get away with that statement.
Nope. He was literally dating a girl who looked like a robot. What the fuck?
Hey, listen, each their own, right? But my point is simple, which is we have some, we know that the 3-letter agencies have been participating in some of our media for years and years and years and years. We can't pretend like, and Christy just said it right here, art imitates life, right? So I just will say that to make people aware, these things are not as crazy as they seem. We are not as crazy as you may think we are. We are paying attention to the writing on the wall, and we are trying desperately to get those messages out to you so that we don't look back in 10, 20, 30 years and be like, holy crap, we missed all of this. And it was in front of our eyes for,
10, 20 years. We're talking 2 years at this point. Everything's moving at an incredibly fast pace.
Said, come get this work. I'm going live on Instagram. Come get this work, Said. Okay.
All right, Soonie, tell everybody where you're going to be after this. I know you do a live, and then we're going to have Mo take
There's my name right there. Definitely not Soonie. Just find me on there.
I'm coming in that live.
Is this the new IG?
The new IG?
This is a new IG, yes. Definitely not Soonie. You guys can follow me there. I'm going to be doing a live. Well, of course, we'll talk a little bit about this show. I'm going to bring Oscar L. Blue on. We have a joint venture we're doing together. He's going to be announcing what I've been telling everybody about. And I'm going to debate Said on the agency's statistics and how he's not reading them correctly. And we're going to bring Tyler Blemmon on.
Love it. All right. Mo, you were a pleasure. We're going to have you on again so that you have the whole time, and we'll have you on as much as possible. We definitely need a little bit of the 19th energy on the show. You know what I mean?
I have to come back. I mean, I was cheated literally out of my first half of the show.
Well, we are out of time, unfortunately.
Don't be doing that.
No, but listen, hey, I want to leave people with this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to say, I want to leave people with this on this last topic. Okay, the stores have ammo and guns. Go buy it. Okay, get right with Jesus because we're in the final chapter of Revelations. Clearly.
I don't really disagree anymore. I don't know what's going on, but it's not right. Soonie, what's this? Let's talk about.
He's an asshole. Okay, it's a hashtag. It's a call to action. Do you really think I can repeal the 19th? Obviously, you don't know how the government works or how bills or pieces of legislation gets pushed through or amendments. Go back to Civics 101. That was it. And thank you for all the women supporting me.
Soonie can't even keep a YouTube or an Instagram name. Like, how is she going to repeal the 19?
So definitely not Soonie right there. Definitely not Soonie is the way you find her. And also, guys, when we talk lastly about censorship, and I've been trying to fight to get the page getting viewership back. I think it's ironic that we get taken down. And I do report people that do certain stuff. There's somebody that has said that I am I've admitted to human trafficking, and he's got 7 different Facebook pages. He has stalked Soonie. He has stalked Primetime Patriots. He's stalked me, and his comments don't go against community standards. We live in an absolutely clown fucking world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Go ahead and make sure if you want to watch us on the podcast right there, go to the awakenotwokestore.com. Use the code Omicron. Omicron, 20% off. We've got the hats like, I'm wearing. We've got Be the Change gear. We've got pretty much everybody what you're seeing. Soonie, show your shirt one last time. Right there. Rocking the
Mo, where do we find you too?
Let's Talk Darling on everything. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, website, everything.
You got it. And last but not least, please, if you're in the Dallas area, we'll talk more about this, Mo, at least for Saturday. Come on over to thegreatamericansummit.com. Check it out. Buy some tickets. We've got some great speakers there, including Nick Vujicic and Ryan Weaver concerts, 2 days. It's going to be awesome. I hopefully see you guys there. Be the change you wish to see in the world. As I said, take it easy, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your evening.